Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford stuck to their guns.
Yeah.
In the face of criticism, and a lot of that criticism came from shows like ours that didn't. Here's the thing: we didn't believe in the core. I didn't, at least. I won't speak for anyone else, but I didn't believe that this core could take the Canucks to the level that they are right now. They haven't done anything in the playoffs, granted. I know all that, but I didn't believe that they could play like this. I didn't think they had the right mix for whatever reason, which is weird because, you had them in the key positions. You had the centers in Miller and Pettersson, and you had the defenseman in Quinn Hughes, and you had the goalie in Thatcher Demko. Like, that's the core that you want. A lot of teams, they can say that we have great core players, but you're like, yeah, but do you have a goalie or do you have a defenseman? I mean, forever in Vancouver, there was no number one defenseman like Quinn Hughes, and there was so much that had to be done to turn this core of players into what we're seeing right now, which is a team, a functioning team. Think about it. You had to, one of the things that they had to do, they felt they had to do, I'm not trying to knock Bo Horvat's leadership here, but they traded the captain.
Yep.
And so they empowered, I'm going to use their words because, they used them and it's worked. They empowered a new leadership group that was led by Quinn Hughes. They brought in a new head coach in Rick Tocchet, and they were aligned with him on what they had to do. And perhaps most importantly, they filled out the parts of the roster that had to be filled out. They knew the roles that they had to fill, and they filled them. They got it done, and they got it done under really difficult circumstances. Not only the criticism that they were taking from the outside, like, what are you guys doing? We've seen this tried before. We've seen the retool. We've seen the retool on the fly. And what are you gonna solve this all by like structure and all that? And they were like, yeah, we're going to chip away at this thing, and we're just going to bring in piece after piece and hope that those pieces are the right pieces. And then think about all the players that we talk about beyond the stars, beyond the core players. We think about, like even a guy like Ian Cole, what he's brought to them in kind of a third pair role, or a guy like Teddy Bluger or Pius Suter. All these guys were brought in. And I think it's a remarkable job that they did. And, I think it's refreshing to see a lot. I mean, I know you won't admit you're wrong about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Because
but
I'm not.
I was completely wrong about the Canucks. I remember texting with all of you guys, and even in like the first period of the Oilers game, I'm like, this team is like, this is going to be another bad season. Like, this is going to be another bad season. And then they go on to win that game 8-1. Because remember, the preseason in training camp, it wasn't like super encouraging. There were a bunch of young players, remember, that we had hoped that they would come rise to the forefront, and we were like, none of them are doing it. And Podkolzin was invisible, and he was down to the AHL really quickly. And I was like, we're gonna have another season. But I think the early success against the Edmonton Oilers, starting the belief in Rick Tocchet's system and bringing in Rick Tocchet last season to start setting the standard and to start setting the structure and to start teaching. That move also got criticized, right? And it turned out to be the right one. And overall, it's just been very, very impressive from the organization from the top to the bottom.